You are wrapping up 12 years in office, 12 extraordinary years where you've really led the city out of bankruptcy into a boom. I want to talk about how you did that and what models are there for other cities that may be struggling right now that want to see better days ahead.
Well, certainly a lot of cities are struggling because we're coming out of COVID. The world has changed. Many of our downtowns have changed. The way that people work has changed. And so we're all kind of grappling with that. And what is the new normal going to be? And what does that mean for our cities? And back when I was first sworn in 2014, we were coming slowly out of the recession years. The city was structurally bankrupt. We had used all of our rainy day fund. The last time we had purchased technology was in 1999, and we still paid every single employee on a paper timesheet. And so when you think about all of the aspirations that you have when you're running for office and the things that you want to do for your community and for your city, the thing that I was really had to focus on in those first couple of years in office was how do I build the foundation so that we can actually build on this and deliver on it and not just have it be another promise broken in what we talk about when we run for office and when we talk to our constituents about what we want to do for our communities. And so building that foundation while nobody gets to see it, I joke that when my husband and I bought our first house, we found out, unfortunately, that the casement windows in the basement needed to be replaced. You know, like nobody wants to spend their first $1,000 on their new house on something that nobody is going to see, but it's critically important, right? So that water doesn't leak in and you don't have the foundation crumble. And so doing that work while there aren't big ribbons to cut is really, really important. And I am glad that I took the time to do the work, that I didn't get frustrated and try to just have short little wins and ribbon cuttings, but really focusing on what we had to do to give our workforce the tools that they needed to be able to deliver on what our residents wanted.
And I think you described it beautifully, but we all know that is far harder to do than to explain. And especially when you have no money and people want results in the streets, and you're talking about fixing an IT system, tell me how you brought both the city staff along, because even if you give them a new computer system, there's frustrations with having new things and everything doesn't transfer and all the challenges come with that, and the community that like we have to fix those windows before we can buy a new sofa. So tell me how you brought folks along and took the long view for the city.
Well, first of all, to pay for it and to really ensure that we had the funding to make these investments that were needed, we are the state capital. So we're a little spoiled in that the policymakers that we really needed to convince on some issues around our funding are right across the street. And so at the same time that I was working with our workforce, I was also working with our partners in state government to make the case for an investment and the need for that investment and what the results of that would be and how that would pay off for all of us. And so first it was really working to get the funding in place to be able to make this transition. And then it was working with our workforce. And I think at first I underestimated. I thought we had a technical problem versus an adaptive problem. We all know about, right? Is it,
Oh,
do you just need to buy a new piece of equipment, or is there an adaptive change that you need to bring people along and listen to stakeholders? And, you learn pretty quickly that virtually every challenge is both. And so the technical side of it was actually easier to fix than the adaptive side of it. And when you're dealing with a workforce that have been in place for many years, have been doing their job in a certain way, it is a challenge. Everybody, what do they say? Everybody wants change, but nobody wants to change. But one of the things that I did was I brought in really good leadership, really good subject matter experts to lead our various departments who believed in the changes that we needed to make and who really worked within the culture of each of our departments to bring the workforce along. And once we were able to show people that this wasn't about replacing jobs, but about giving people the tools that they needed to do their jobs better, to be able to be more accountable to our constituents, they were able to come along and be a part of that change.